looks like that intro's done and we're live. So, hello Kitty Vickies, it's me, Hollow of Dawn here on the first installment of The Rooftop, an interview podcast that I hope would continue on for other people, onto other people rather. And well, this is basically a new series that I want to start up where we, well, basically sit down and essentially listen to whoever is interested in being interviewed by me here on this aforementioned rooftop. And it just so happens that, surprisingly enough, a few people actually expressed interest. I know Kevin and Daniel Santos, who also helped me with, or rather, yeah, he did help me. He helped me with the Fate Stay Night visual novel review, and of course, was the inspiration for just starting out with School Days as a part of my whole reboot efforts. But I digress. Today, I am here with a very special guest, a guest who, if he was never around, I likely would not be here right now with the amount of experience that I have, the amount of years creating anime content. That wouldn't probably never happen without this man right here. Give it up for the one, Dr. Dazza. What up, Dazza? How you doing, man?
Hey, how you going? I'm good. I'm good. You asked me how I was, and then I was like, I'm not going to say how I am. I'm going to ask you how you are because that's how it's supposed to be. But I am good. How are you?
A bit awkward at the outset, but hopefully I managed to salvage it. Doing all right.
That sounded fine to me.
Well, doing as fine as I can, considering what's been going on lately, but hopefully we can just kind of forget about it for the time being and focus
Yeah,
on...
who cares about that? We've got anime. Let's talk about anime. Let's talk about us. Don't worry about anything else.
Yeah, let's talk about... God, what should we talk about? Of course, we've got to talk about anime. Or better yet, actually, mind introducing yourself? Doing a little introduction to those who don't know, who may not be in the know of who this man is, or who you are rather. Hope you don't mind me being an awkward little git right now, but.
You're alright.
Introduce yourself, Dazza.
Alright, well, I'm Dr. Dazza, or as I'm more professionally known now as Daryl Harding. I am a professional anime journalist living in Japan, and I write for Crunchyroll.
Which is badass, by the way. Just badass. Dude, like...
Literally, my visa is a journalist visa, and it has journalist written on it, which is great, by the way. Because people are like, ooh, it's funny.
Like it's just the amount of things that happened in 9 years, and continue on.
Yeah, and previously I was an anime YouTuber, so I started out on anime YouTubing back in 2010. So that was about a decade ago now.
Which, of course, makes you an OG, as your title on here suggests, but go on.
Yeah, a lot of people don't remember the original people. Like, at one point, I had more subscribers than Gigic.
Oh my god. Yeah, that was around the time, like, Madoka was, like, a new thing. In fact, that's actually how I was introduced to you, is because of Madoka that I actually came across your reaction videos on the topic, and I remember it actually scoring quite a number of viewers. Obviously.
Yeah, those videos got viral because Japan picked up on it at the time.
Yep.
And the third episode, right? Because I was 17 at the time when it aired. By the way,
how could anyone forget the third episode during that time, right?
Exactly.
Who could forget? I still remember that freaking thing. Of course, like a lot of people do. Practically the anime that spurred on the popularity of the 3-episode rule, in fact. But
exactly, yeah. I think it might have been School Days who started it initially. But yeah, so that became popular. I did anime YouTubing for a while, went to university, and then I worked for an anime company in Australia called Man Man Entertainment,
Nice.
where I was the social media manager and community manager until Netflix came along into Australia and destroyed the business model, which was great.
Ah.
Yeah, yeah. And then I moved to Japan. So I've been working in Japan for a while. I worked in a Japanese company. I did freelancing for a while for some other Japanese companies. And then I got this writing gig with Crunchyroll. So yeah, that's basically it. That's a condensed version of my last 10 years. Ugh.
Definitely condensed, though. Admittedly, I have to bring this up because if you were to look for Dr. Dazza nowadays, you begin to realize that your second channel is the only channel left around. Your old channel got taken down by YouTube. What was it like?
Yes.
Like false copyright strikes, and did you? What's the story on that? Like really?
So for Flying for Nippon, which was my YouTube channel at the
Yep,
time,
absolutely. Yep.
the one that had all the subscribers, all the videos, everything. I did a video on Pop Team Epic, which used some of the footage because, you know, criticism, review, all that stuff.
Yeah, it should be fair use.
And exactly. It got, not manually, it got like content ID. So it was an automatic thing. So that's fine. It happens all the time. Everyone's used to that. But when I went to do a, like, what do they call it? Account notification for it, YouTube thought I was defrauding them.
Wow.
So I still don't know how they thought I was defrauding them. They had my information. I've spoken to Google reps myself. I've been to Google and YouTube events for the channel, but they thought I was defrauding them, and they took it down, and I haven't been able to get it back up since.
Which says a whole lot about, you know, YouTube's copyright system. That says a lot about YouTube, really. The fact that, and especially with the recent announcement that they're actually cutting down on their human, like, you know, basically their human workforce and replacing it with bots when it comes to the whole copyright aspect of YouTube, and how they're kind of like priding themselves on that. The implications that there'll be less people to really talk to about like stuff like this, though of course this issue has been pervading the YouTube sphere for a long time. It just really freaking sucks that you can't get your channel back, as you know, at least you just can't, which is fucked up, because that's history right there. You know, like, again, like I've known about you since 2011, and what was when did this take place? 2017, 2018, or you know?
I think it was 2017.
So that's basically like 7 years of anime content history right there, just wiped out by YouTube. But
on my channel were like live streams with Gigic, like early Gigic.
The olden days, simpler times.
Yokorama, which isn't around anymore.
Those
Madoka Magica reviews. But I've still got a lot of the videos on a hard drive somewhere, so they're not lost. They're just not online anymore.
And you've clearly gotten yourself over to greener pastures, or at least the different pastures. It's not every day.
Well, at least my work pays now.
Yeah, it's not every day that an anime YouTuber literally is able to, you know, work professionally, which is just, I mean, now I don't want to cross any barriers, because I'd obviously, you know, work-related stuff, you know, inner workings and all that, none of my business. That's left for, you know, you and the company that you work for. So I'm not going to try to get into
background dealings with corporate. Yeah,
pretty much. So I'm going to obviously avoid that as much as possible. But I guess to start with, now that you've introduced yourself and we brought up the fact that YouTube kind of screwed over your channel, or at least your life here on this platform. I guess it would. You mind if I like asked like how you got your start on here and basically the early days, so to speak. You know, like
Okay.
what
Yeah.
got
No.
what got you started on YouTube? And
So, the reason I started on YouTube was I was in the last year of high school,
hmm
and we were. It was October, so it was October 2010, and basically, I was at the time I was watching a lot of YouTube, and there was this one YouTuber who I won't name because he still makes videos,
hmm
and they're still exactly the same that they were 10 years ago. And he was making videos on a certain show,
hmm
and the videos were terrible, but he was getting like 60,000 views for these videos, and that's crazy to me. And these videos were like the worst things I'd ever seen.
Well, I mean, you got to take into account YouTube back then wasn't, at least
Oh,
more so
totally.
more so than now, was less reliant on quality. You know, definitely early days, especially for us anime YouTubers, especially. I mean,
Totally, yeah.
yeah. Like I still remember the olden days of anime AMVs when that was the thing that was like rampant. And
I used to make AMVs.
Yeah.
That's what my second channel was for.
And one could argue that part of the early days of YouTube was built on anime AMVs, but I digress. So after you saw this YouTuber making this terrible content, what happened after that? So
I thought I could do better. That's basically what I said to myself.
and you certainly have. I mean,
Um,
it should be evident.
so yeah, I edited my videos, which he didn't do. And I spoke about like seasonal stuff. So it was like the first video I did ever was on Bakuman, the second season of Bakuman. And when I did that video, it got instantly 100,000 views overnight.
Whoa!
I did not realize. Yeah, it's like Google search engine optimization back then was super easy just to get views, especially on like popular stuff. So I got these. They used to have awards on YouTube. I don't know if you remember them.
No, I remember them. Yeah, like
Yeah, so I got these like little awards that said, "Oh, the most viewed per day," and the most viewed in region and stuff like that. I'm like, "Oh, this is so cool!" So I continued making them.
So yeah, this was like during like, was it the old YouTube like interface? Like, was this like
Oh yeah,
before they started to really experiment with different like layouts and make things like more. God, I remember like the old like channel channel like layout and kind of
yeah. So
kind of
this
boxy.
was back. This was back when you could actually create your own channel layout.
Yeah, customize the colors and all that. Yeah.
Even upload your own images, have your own banners, everything like that. I remember they used to have in the banner, they used to have like this little code that you could map buttons to, and then have like external links and have little images which sort of were hyperlinks that you could create in a banner on your YouTube channel. Whereas now it's just a static image, which makes me sad.
Yeah, I guess. Oh yeah, so you're talking about not the old old YouTube interface, but you're talking about the one after that. Basically, one of the in between layouts before landing on the one that we recognize today. So yeah, you're talking about the partner. Are you talking about the partner like banners where? Yeah, partner like YouTube partners were able to create links in their banner and kind of map it. Because in that case, I definitely remember that.
Yeah, I remember. I finally got the partner option after a while, and then the next like month they opened it up to everyone. Uh, but yeah, so I started doing that, and I continued doing it. So with that, I learned like digital marketing, like how to make good videos, how to make engaging content, and then I used that to basically get jobs. Yes.
So, did you self-teach these skills, or did you learn it formally?
So I did a digital media course initially in university.
All right.
Which went nowhere because it was stupid. And then I moved to a marketing course. But then that was only traditional marketing, not digital marketing.
Right.
So I was still doing digital marketing for a convention, my local convention in Australia. And through that, I got connections with the anime industry. And I got a job through that. And basically, it was mostly self-taught, but also some like online stuff. That makes sense.
It does.
So, yeah. Which also means I don't have a degree, which is, in Japan, very hard to get by.
I would like to, if you don't mind, I would like to ask about questions about your life in Japan and what we can learn from your experience. But for the time being, until we get there, so you managed to land over 100,000 views from this one video on Bakuman, right? So
yeah, it was the first episode of the second season.
All right.
It was just an episode review. That was all it was.
And so you continued on from that, and want to like talk about like the aftermath of that sort of breakthrough that you got. So what did you do like after? Because I'm trying to like get to the moment where you then Madoka came out, and then suddenly like basically that's where my personal story with you came into the fray.
All right, so it was October 2010, and it was that season. So it was Bakuman and Index, and those were the two videos I was making, the two shows I was making videos on. Now, if you remember Index season 2, it was terrible, absolutely terrible. And I just basically ratted it on it the entire time. But then the next season started. It was like January. And there was a Shaft show that came out, or was coming out. And it was, of course, at the time I was really into Monogatari with Bakemonogatari, and I watched a bunch of their shows like Rioholic, Hitomari Sketch, Sayonara Setsubo Sensei, all that sort of stuff. So I was like, okay, Madoka Magica, I like magical girls. This is going to be fun. And so
if only people knew.
So if only people knew. And like at the time, Gen Yorobuchi wasn't a household name. No one really knew who he was. No one knew what he did. There are some subsets of the internet who did, and I made the first 2 videos on it, the first 2 episodes, and I had some comments being like, "Oh, it's coming. It's coming. What's coming? There's nothing coming. This is just a really sweet show." Because at the time, I don't know if people remember this, but the show was just touted as this really cute magical girl show. It's how all the advertisements were.
Of course.
It's basically like
God, I remember. None of the trailers ever like gave that twist away, huh?
None of them whatsoever.
So like,
and it was really funny because we all thought it was just this cute magical girl show, and then episode 3 happened,
just genius marketing on that end, like just kind of.
Oh yeah, no, I think Aniplex did an amazing job hyping up that show. Amazing. Yeah, so after that happened, that reaction. I made like a little reaction part of it because I thought in my head, I don't know if you've what is it? There's like TV like reenactments. I thought it was like a reenactment from like Today Tonight or what's it called in America? Dateline, maybe. I can't remember what they call it. Like it's like a infomercial show.
Admittedly, I don't really watch TV over here, so I'm trying to.
No, that's totally fair.
Yeah, I'm trying to recall, like
it's like a dramatic reenactment for NewsHour or something, where they reenact this moment that happened, and I was like, I'll do this because I think it'll be really funny. Little did I know that then got posted on Nico Nico, and instantly got 700,000 views. And
damn.
Yeah. And then the actual video itself, without my permission, of course, was used as advertising for the first Blu-ray in Japan.
Really? Like by official means. This is official. Like
I don't know how official it was, but I know there was my video being played in.
Oh wait, you just cut out for a bit there.
The video itself was played in Akihabara. And it had like, this out now, like Madoka Magica out now.
So like, okay, so the advertisement was basically just you. Like, did they show like the clip, or was it like one of those things where, hey, this person's reacting like super wildly, like to this anime. You should like buy it, Madoka Magica, as like a kind of like to get people interested, or just kind of hype it up a bit, without spoiling anything. Or is that how it went?
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly how it went. I'm not sure if they used clips or not. I only saw a screenshot of the video being used, and the shop is it's still here. It was the Gamers in Akihabara. So it was just like, what? It's being used in Akihabara. That was months later, of course. So yeah, it was actually a fun story about that. We were talking about Madoka Magica in our like Crunchyroll like news hangout chat, where we talk to like each other, and we're talking about Madoka Magica because we're talking about Magica Record, how the new season was announced, and we were talking about like our first times watching it. And one of the writers was like, "Oh, I was really like surprised," and I was like, "Well, I actually recorded mine," and I sent them the link to it, to the Nico Nico link. And another writer was like, "Oh, I watched this video like 10 years ago. Wow, I remember this." And I'm just like, "Oh, so you've known me for a decade then."
God, a freaking decade, or almost a decade rather. Yeah. Jesus Christ. But continue on.
So yeah, and then, of course, Madoka Magica was delayed. The last 2 episodes were delayed.
Yeah, because of the
earthquake.
The earthquake, and there's also concerns about like nuclear reactors, right? Because of the earthquakes, and
the nuclear reactors were hit by the tsunami.
Yep. So
and that was an issue. So then I sort of like worked together with some other Japanese YouTubers at the time, like Give Me a Break Man. I can't remember what his channel was at the time, but his name's Tanaka-san. And so we did some like Red Cross stuff and some donation rallies, and I got to watch Madoka Magica live. I watched it live on the internet with like 10,000 people from Japan when they released the last 2 episodes over Easter, I think it was at the time. And that's probably where you started.
Yeah, I started out like I first heard about you like okay, so how I came across you starts with how I came across Madoka Magica in the first place. So I used to be an avid reader of Sankaku Complex, admittedly. Now, not the image board, but of course, the website back in the day, before they changed the layout, like way back then, I recall an article saying, Madoka Magica was like the best anime of the season, because this was still back in. I wasn't really like a seasonal guy. I didn't keep up with seasonal anime at the time. This was early 2011, like January. So basically, I was just kind of, watching anime based purely on word of mouth, or, if I hear something that's interesting about a show, I'll go check it out and all that. So to see Madoka Magica with this article with the quotes "best anime of the season," I'll check it out. So watch the first episode. I like it. Obviously the first episode is not entirely cutesy. Obviously there's a bit of a dark edge to it with the witches and all that, and how it looks and how it's directed. The witch designs by Inu Kuri. How can you forget designs like that?
Who are now directing the entire series?
Yeah, the new Amagia record series. So yeah, but basically I liked the first episode. Second episode, same thing, but didn't really think about it much. I was like a lot of people. I didn't expect where the show would go. Right. Episode 3. You can't really. There's not a whole lot to. What can you say about episode 3 that no one else hasn't already said about it? Other than, what the fuck? Obviously,
it did like a full right turn. Yeah,
it is like either a 90-degree turn or a 180-degree turn, where you expect the thing to be kind of cutesy, because the mommy versus Charlotte fight is surrounded by like freaking colors and giant like candy scenery, and it's like, oh man, she's beating the shit out of this witch, and all of a sudden this little freaking witch kind of
spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert here for an anime that came out, for an almost decade-year-old anime. Charlotte, this little tiny witch, turns into a big worm-like witch with a clown face and bites mommy's head off. And I'm like, what the fuck? And that was obviously, I'm not entirely like reenacting my reaction. But suffice to say, I was like many others, where I would watch this and I'm like, did that really just happen? And I remember kind of like in the aftermath of all that, and like mommy getting her head like chomped off, and there being like hints, like blood and gore, actually, if you like rewatch the scene, and there's like after Hamura blows Charlotte up, and there's like chunks flying out, and there's like little hints of like blood, and if it's not from Charlotte, it clearly came from mommy's head. Being
it's so visceral as well.
It's like you don't see the head chomp directly, but the way it's framed and directed, shit got real fast, right? Like the fact that as she's getting her head chomped off, her body's wiggling around as Charlotte like just bites, like chews on it, and all lifeless, and falls to the ground, and it's like it's one of the most visceral like scenes in all of anime without being bloody and gory.
It's so well directed as well.
Yeah, and of course you have the aftermath with Madoka and Sayaka being like, crying their asses off, and like Sayaka just kind of being angry at Hamura, like over what happened. Obviously, like just in mourning, and it's like shit. So, and of course, I got curious. I wondered how did other people react to this scene. And for the record, I've had like 3 YouTube channels and all that. This was on my first YouTube channel, looking up videos of like different reactions, and I just so happened to stumble upon yours, and obviously your reaction, that you reenacted your reaction to the moment and all that, to the episode, and I believe it was on YouTube either at 100,000 views or was going to be like in the hundreds of thousands at the time. Cause
it was really quick upturn.
Yeah, like and how could it not, considering what transpired in that very episode? A lot of people bound to like wonder, do other people share the same reaction that I do? And it just so happened, yes. And your reaction just so happened to be probably the most entertaining of them all, of all the reaction videos that were available at the time. And that's actually how I ended up subscribing to Fighting for Nippon rather, the channel that unfortunately is now lost to time. And basically every time I would watch a new episode, I would then see if you made a reaction. And like, I watch an episode, watch a reaction from you, if you made any, if you released any reaction video, and just kind of continued on. And then of course the very unfortunate earthquake disaster happened, and obviously the hype for the last 2 episodes was freaking real.
It was a fever pitch.
It was fever pitch without, and because obviously, we had to like wait a month,
it was, basically a month.
Yeah, waiting an entire month for the last 2 episodes. It's like putting Mentos in a Coke bottle and then closing the bottle. It's gonna explode when you like open the thing up, and that's precisely what happened. Admittedly, those last 2 episodes almost made me cry with joy.
They were great. That was so good.
The show had probably the perfect ending, or at least at the closest thing to a perfect ending to any series, really. And God, just like for a while, like Madoka really was my absolute favorite anime at that time. But then again, I was like 15 or 16 at the time. I
still think it's up there.
No, I still love Madoka. I still love the original Madoka series, like a TV series. It's still one of my top 10s, but back then it was like Euphoria, and you couldn't escape Madoka for a while, right? It was like the anime that people would like keep track of and talk about on like message boards and forums and stuff, And
2011 was a really good year for anime.
Very much so. We got Steins Gate and stuff. We got
Anohana.
Freaking, God damn it! I'm trying to go back in time. I'm trying to get my brain back in time.
You had Hanasaku Iroha at the same time as Anohana.
Hanasaku Iroha. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. God damn it! I know. I'm trying to Fate Zero. Of course, Fate Zero came out. Started in 2011. We had freaking. Oh, God damn it! I'm trying to go through my list to refresh my mind, because this is such a long time ago. But that was 2011 was just a bang out year.
Nichijou as well.
Nichijou.
Penguin Drum.
And Mawaru Penguin Drum.
I don't know if anyone watched this, but Level E was really good as well.
Let's see here.
Infinite Stratos, but that sucked.
Infinite Stratos is one of my worst enemies. Yeah, but
Mirai Nikki, Usagi Drop.
Let's see.
Haganai, Wandering Sun. Chihai Furu started the same year. Yuri.
Yuri. Oh my God. Goddamn. Trying to go. I wish I had big brain right now. I need to think big brain think.
Bucker and Test.
Back in the okay. I mean, 2011 spawned some of my worst enemies, but also spawned some of the most like memorable and influential shows over the course of the decade. Really,
we can't forget the best show on the list, Camphor.
Camphor, the freaking gender swapping like anime, right? Like what was up with Camphor? I remember like Masako X doing like an abridged of that thing. I never watched it though.
So, Camphor, it's basically like it's kind of a magical girl show, but it's the girl when he gets powers. I'm pretty sure, if I recall correctly. But there were like some of these like evil stuffed animals. And he's in love with this one girl who is also a Camphor, because only females can be Camphors except him. He also turns to a Camphor, which means he turns to a girl. It's dumb. It's very dumb.
Yeah, sounds like a dumb Ranma one half.
I enjoyed it at the time. I was also 17. Oh, 18.
Then, of course, you did mention Haganai, which the fact that there was never a season 3 of Haganai is kind of unfortunate to me. So I did like the first, the 2 seasons of Haganai.
That was really good.
Let's see here. Good lord. Fuck. What else came out in 2011 that I may or may not have seen? Freaking Carnival Phantasm, which,
of course,
though I wasn't really as big into Type Moon as I am like nowadays, so a lot of the jokes were over my head. But even so, it's like 2011 was a great year for anime, and it just so happened that Madoka was one of the shows that sort of led the pack throughout that year, if not for the next few years after that.
I remember there was a whole bunch of shows coming out afterwards that were like a year or two behind, because obviously it takes a while to make anime. That were trying to be edgy and dark magical girl shows, and they all sucked. All of them,
dude. Not even like a few years. Like shit. I'm trying to remember this one magical girl show. This magical girl site, Maho Shoujo site. One of the worst, one of the dumbest animes I have ever seen. Came out in 2018. So Madoka was influencing freaking like anime or manga, even years afterwards.
I mean, that's not to say like dark magical girls shows weren't a thing, because you had like the one season of Sailor Moon that was done by Ikuhara. You had all of his shows. So
you had, is Princess Tutu a magical girl show, or am I remembering incorrectly? Because
I suppose it could be classed as one, but I wouldn't. No,
I could have swore that I heard someone say that it might have, that Madoka might have taken a few elements from Princess Tutu, but I think that was like an accusation, but I think someone just brought it up, but then I'm just remembering incorrectly. But anyway, even so, it's then you had freaking one of the animes that I reviewed was pretty much a Madoka ripoff, straight up, which is weird considering that the director who directed this said anime also directed the first season of Lyrical Nanoha, which is interesting. I'm trying to remember the freaking. If you don't mind me going back through my catalog real quick, and just sort of refreshing my constantly aging memory, because apparently I'm turning into an old man here.
We're all turning into old men.
I would put music and some audio cues in this intro, but a parasite gave me the steps.
Oh, I can hear you.
Yeah, the YouTube's kind of being like a bit of a idiot right now. Let's see here. Daybreak Illusion. Freaking Daybreak Illusion's the anime that I reviewed, directed by the
that was terrible show.
Yeah, like one of the an example of how, now again, like when we say like it's a ripoff of Madoka, we're kind of working off of, you know, hyperbole and all that. You know, we obviously can't like verify it for sure, but let's face it, you know, whenever you would see a dark magical girl show in the aftermath of Madoka, all you would think is Madoka, really. Even now, like every time I hear about a new magical girl show that's bloody and dark, I have to think Madoka probably did it better.
I mean, it's not that they're like rip-offs, it's that they're influenced by Madoka Magica.
Yeah. Like,
and that's it. They didn't capture the spirit of what made Madoka Magica so great.
Yeah, like capture the like basically not only the directing spark, but, you know, the creative side too, like by instead embracing, you know, the dark, you know, bloody, edgy elements, but without having the heart. Because even through the darkness, Madoka is one of those shows where it's grim when you look at things. You know, when you look at it at face value, it's a dark magical girl show, but the message that it has, its coming of age message, is a very optimistic one. And that's what a lot of the shows that are influenced by Madoka always lack. And yeah, it's just incredible that even now we can just look back on Madoka and just to really see just how ageless the thing really is, like especially from a presentation standpoint. The show, especially the Blu-ray release, you know, and even the recap films especially, still look good.
Well, those are gorgeous. Those are gorgeous.
Yeah, one of Shaft's like best like outputs, if you ask me.
When I was watching the first episode of Magical Record, I basically was like, this is exactly the same as the Blu-rays of Madoka Magica. The level of polish the show had back then still holds up and still looks like a 2020 anime. And I feel like a lot of shows, even some shows now, or at least back then as well, they had this like feeling, like, how do I put it? The mastering process was more primitive back then, because obviously we've had a decade of innovation. Like computers have gotten smaller, like programs gotten easier to use. We basically moved on to digital animation, all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
But because Madoka Magica's style was so innovative and so unique, it still looks modern, basically. But if you go back and look at something like Index, which aired the season prior, it just looks so old and so dated. I mean, at least even compared to like Index now, as bad as it was, Index now looks more modern, of course.
God, it's just it's a different time for like, you know, like anime in general, because and especially the community, like, because you were basically like symbiotic with my experience with Madoka during that time, really. You know, just obviously, you know, there was also the broader community, you know, like making like speculations and all that, you know, like what's going to happen like next, or, you know, or better yet, you know, people analyzing each each scene and basically looking at trying to find hints on where the story would go next during that time, you know, obviously as the show would go on. But besides actually watching the show and looking at stuff surrounding the show, then you have the YouTube content creators reacting to it, and suffice to say, like, you were a big part of me essentially going from a guy who kind of watched anime, sort of like freely, as like just kind of going by word of mouth, to actually paying attention to what's coming out this season or the season after. Like, and it basically you're basically the reason I got into the anime community. I started to pay attention to the anime community, like, as a whole, really, is through your content at that time, and going forward. So it's just, we've been going like on and on about Madoka, I know, but obviously you did ask how I started, how I heard about you, how I got around to like knowing who you are and watching your content, and leading up to now, where unfortunately that stuff is no longer on YouTube, which is a shame, because again, that's like history wiped out right there. But yeah, so Madoka essentially ends, but of course you continue on making content and all that, and obviously more anime comes out. Like was Steins Gate was spring 2011, right?
Winter. No, summer. Sorry.
Okay, so
actually, wait. It started in April, so it would have been spring. Yeah, it started in spring, went to over summer.
Yeah, so basically, time goes on, keeps going on, and you continue.
Time waits for no one. Yeah.
And over the years, you've come to kind of be acquainted with more like anime content creators. I believe at one point you did a Chobits review with like, I'm trying to, was it with For Neverworld or was it with someone else?
I never did a Chobits review.
No,
I've never seen Chobits, actually.
That's weird. I recall you actually like doing like a collaboration, like Chobits review with someone else.
No, I don't think that was me. We did a Magnetic Magica review and a Steins Gate review together.
Huh. Okay, either I'm going through like a Bernstein effect, where I'm thinking of an alternate universe, or
because it could have been Azumanga Daioh you're thinking of.
No, I could have swore that there was something made of Chobits, though. It could have been Jesu Otaku back when, or was it does she prefer to be called Jessie, right? Or I tried to.
It's Jake.
Jake.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm literally blocked by him on Twitter, literally, for liking Darling in the Franxx, for the record. During that whole Darling in the Franxx, like situation. But
I stayed well away of that.
I'm not going to talk about it, but
But yeah, no, I had like videos with Neverworld and stuff before he got really popular.
And
I actually drank with him at Anime Expo.
And
one year.
How long ago was this?
Anime Expo was 2013.
Let's see here. And I'm trying to recall the other people you started to collaborate with, and even started even collaborated with a podcast with as well. The Anniverse, which obviously I was invited to, and I have my own story with that. But maybe you can like go through your history for a bit and kind of work things up.
So I did we were trying to do like an anime podcast because they were the most popular things back then.
Yep.
Well, actually, we tried to do it before Potaku started.
Ooh.
And, yeah, throwing some shade down. And obviously they were more popular because they actually kept going. So I did that with Yokorama and Peppered Ham at the time. It was basically just us talking about stuff, and we had some guests at some stages.
And
I don't really remember much of it because it was like half a decade ago now.
Yeah.
I do remember when we tried to get you on, and you had a bad internet connection.
Oh, there's actually, well, it wasn't so much a bad internet connection as it was no internet connection. Now,
well, I mean, I'm from Australia, and at the time we didn't even have really good internet either. So I completely understood your predicament.
Yeah, like I was in the Philippines still at that time, and not even like in like a city but like the rural, like my dad like moved us to like the rural part of the Philippines. You know, going from California to rural Philippines. Which I will not get into because even I don't know the reason why he decided to do this. At the end of the day, but for some reason the internet cut out because we had to rely on satellite internet.
Oh yeah,
satellite internet, right? Like nothing could go wrong except it did. And
all the time.
You had invited me over to be on the Aniverse, and the internet was out as it tended to be, so. Basically, me and my dad, we had to like, there was this place in like because this is like a village, right? A rural village, and this one place.
I'm just imagining like huts, like tiki huts everywhere.
Like
even though I know the Philippines have huts.
Like dirt and businesses with like dirty looking wall. Basically, just look up like rural like Philippine village on Google Images or something. You probably know what that looks like at that point, but basically there was this one place that my dad would typically like to go to that just so happened to have Wi-Fi. So we would take his laptop and try to use the Wi-Fi to obviously get this done, because I told him about I'm going to be on a podcast and all that, and the internet's out, so we have to go in the car, right, and just kind of try to use the Wi-Fi, which didn't work because it was real. Not only did we have to do this like from the car, but the internet itself was really crappy in the first place, and unfortunately put an end to that effort. So I could not be on the Aniverse because the freaking internet had to cut out in a place where there are no phone lines or anything. So it's not like we can like do DSL or cable for that matter, like, because again it's like a lot of like rice fields and stuff. It's a messed up situation, really. And really, I don't know why did my dad, why the Philippines, Dad. He watches my channel from time to time, but that's beside the point.
At the time I was on, what is it called? It's not fiber, it's the other one, copper internet. And it would, I feel you, because it would rain and my internet would go out. And during the Aniverse stages, I had the issue where if it rained, the internet just went out. So I could be halfway through a podcast recording or a live stream or something, and I'll just disappear. And they never fixed it, if I recall correctly. But hey, I moved to Japan, and we have like fiber internet to my computer. So
freaking yeah, I'm freaking jealous of like Japan, Korean, like South Korean internet like infrastructures,
right?
Having fiber as like a standard like internet feature, like fiber optics, just having like how is it, like a gigabit, man, or close to a gigabit?
Mine is actually, it's fiber to the premises here, so I don't know what the actual like up and down is, because I live in an apartment building.
And how much do you pay for it?
I don't pay it, it's in my rent, so I don't know how much it actually costs. God. It's just in my rent. I can tell you how much I pay for rent, and it's dirt cheap. So actually mostly Wi-Fi. I get 30 megabytes down and 100 megabytes up checking speed test over Wi-Fi. So it's a lot better than my Australian 3
It's
megabyte.
it's better than a lot of American internet connections, really. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's all my utilities here are included in my rent. So yeah.
God. But I mean, okay, I gotta snap myself out of admiring Japanese internet infrastructure for a bit.
I will be honest. If I was living in my own place, because I'm looking at moving to a detached house or something,
Yeah.
it will be. I think it's about like 5,000 yen a month for unlimited,
Like, how much would
which
that
is still.
like? How much would that be like a USD? I'm trying. But let me look it up. Actually,
It's about 40 USD. If not, no, it's about 40, 45.
that's the rent or the internet like payment.
That would be the internet if I was paying for my own. Because obviously I would get the best one.
$40 for fiber internet. Like,
Yeah, probably about 100 up and down, I'm guessing.
I mean, the fact that gotta pay like 70 or maybe more for equivalent speeds or something, or god damn it. Okay, that's my god.
I mean, I when I was in Australia, you couldn't even you were paying for like copper internet at like $100, and it's metered. It's disgusting.
And looks like we have JR Pictures actually. Hey, what's up, JR?
Oh, it's John. Hey, John.
Okay, didn't get a notification about this till I saw Dazza's tweet just now. No problem, dude. Like, I obviously on Twitter, sometimes during previous streams as well, and of course have him on Fate Grand Order, which I will not talk about because that's not the point. But regardless, UK. So obviously getting back on topic, or trying to, because fiber optic internet is a standard over there. Jesus Christ. So,
I mean, again, you have to remember as well, this is Tokyo.
Hmm.
So it's much easier to have fiber internet in Tokyo when everything is connected. If I was in rural Yamanashi or Saitama, it would be a lot worse.
So,
Not that much worse, actually.
all right. So, moving on. Obviously, you've met a different, at least either one circle or another of anime content creators from For Never World. And were you ever acquainted, at least acquainted with the likes of Giguk or the like? Or I'm trying to remember.
I did live streams and stuff with Geek at one stage.
Yes.
When those were popular.
So it's like, so basically, just basically like me and some others, you're basically you're more of an OG than I am. I call myself the original anime outsider, but you are the original. You're one of the originals, really. As far as I'm concerned, I started 2011. You obviously a year before that. I didn't start making anime content until the 12 Days of Anime, which if you still remember anything from that, that time, you want to expand on what the 12 Days of Anime were.
So, the idea of 12 Days of Anime was it's a little bit cheeky. So, anime blogs. I used to be an anime blogger as well at one stage. That's where I started. I started on an anime blog, then moved to YouTube. And the anime blogging sphere had this 12 Days of Anime concept where you write a blog post every day about one moment from anime the past year that really struck out to you. So I took that concept and was like, here it is on YouTube, basically.
So taking a pre-established idea and just making it video format.
Yeah, basically. The first one, if I recall correctly, was actually all in collaboration with the blog sphere as well. So we all like collaborated on like sharing names and community aspects, because the idea behind it was bigger people, say like myself or Forever World or something, we'd make like videos and then would share a document with other people who may have been smaller than us or just starting out, and try and support them in their growth on YouTube.
Yeah, and this was back when YouTube still had the video responses feature, which the fact that they took out that feature just made it harder for smaller people to just kind of get noticed. But back then, this is how I started, actually.
Yeah. So I remember we had a document. I probably still have the document, to be honest. It's on my Google Drive.
Actually,
just everyone who participated.
I think I still have like some of the old files from because obviously you download like starter files and all that.
Oh yeah, I made like a kit where it had like an intro, and I got a music done by Anime Central.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's still around or not, but
like
I got some music done by him.
Yeah, I would go and look at the files right now if it wasn't on an external drive, which unfortunately, in order to like look at it, I would have to disconnect my microphone because limited USBs.
My hard drive with it is back in Australia, so.
So, but you had a list though. That's an interesting bit. You still have the list, or is it on back in Australia?
I can't remember if Google Drive was a thing back then. Because I remember I tried to do it on Google Drive. Or I know how we updated it to Google Drive at one stage. 12 days of anime. Let's have a look. I've got the 2013 database, I'm pretty sure. That's the earliest one.
Yeah, I don't think... I think I might have... God, did I might have partially been in... No, I think it was either 2012 or 2013. I know that I did try to collaborate with 2011, though.
I know you're on 2013, because you're right here.
Okay, I never finished 2013, though. I just kind of stopped at some point, because I wasn't of underpreparedness or something. I don't know.
So here's some names I'll just throw out to you. See if you
yeah, dude.
Remember.
Let's go back in time, bro.
We've got Laku.
That sounds familiar. Laku.
We've got Goat Jesus.
Yeah, the goat.
Yeah. We've got Lou.
Lou Talks Anime, right?
Sitting by the window.
I'm not.
That is the same Lou, but that was his name back then.
Okay. So just.
We've got Corey, the otaku chick.
I'm not gonna. Nah. Hope.
So that.
We have beef. Yeah.
Dakota Broski.
Still know of him. We've talked. We're still acquainted. Dakota. Yeah.
Let's see. Cynical Noob.
I never got to know Cynical Noob, but I think he was either associated with or was in the anime galaxy when that was a thing, though that died out, unfortunately.
You got Hell Plus.
Oh, that's Goat's old friend, though unfortunately they both kind of split apart. Yeah, so Hell Plus.
Oh, that's Anime Central. Let's see. There's a lot of names here. Code Provider. If you remember him.
No, I don't recall Code Provider.
I think he was like a manga reviewer. He hasn't done anything 5 years. So
Yeah. I wasn't really into manga. Well, I'm still not really a manga reader, admittedly, to this day. So
yeah, there was a lot of it's like going back in time,
yeah.
basically. So that was the 2013 one,
Hmm.
and then we got 2014. We got James Hansen in 2014.
Trying to James Hansen.
You got Yonku.
Okay. Yonko sounds familiar.
Yonku Productions. Yeah.
Yonku.
Forever World. Yeah, Valmar. Yeah, see, there's a whole bunch of people who participated who might still be around, might not be.
Trying to Yonko Productions. Okay, let's see. 21 videos. I'm just going back in time for a bit, just trying to look. Okay, his last video was back in like 6 months ago, according to YouTube. But
he's more of a leaker now. Then we have 2015, which has JR pictures in it.
Who is hey JR, yo, or John you call him. Are you still in the chat? You still watching with us? I know I'm being a moron right now, but you know, I'm just kind of like that normally.
But yeah, the reason why I stopped really doing 12 Days of Anime was because there was, you know, people being themselves, and some YouTubers being not amazing, and then one of them even hijacked the concept and tried to commercialize it.
I for some reason I vaguely recall that being a thing.
Yeah,
or at least hearing about it. I'm trying to a long time ago, but I vaguely heard about that back then.
So I was really unhappy about that. And then so then BB's World took it over, which was really good, and she's done a really good job since then.
So the 12 Days of Anime still go on to this day?
I think they had a thing last year. Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
I don't really pay attention anymore.
Not sure how far the delay between the chat and you guys is. Unfortunately, JR Pictures, I failed to set the latency to low latency. It's stuck on normal. But hopefully YouTube will. Who am I kidding? YouTube won't upgrade their streaming servers, but hopefully the delay won't be too bad for him. But yeah. So if it's the 12 Days of Anime is still going on, might contribute to it, you know, for old time's sake, if that's the case.
I found it really difficult to make 12 videos in 12 days.
Yeah, 12 video, like edit. Well, you pretty much have to like do it ahead of time, right? But even so, it's like I kind of like skipped. I kind of like stopped doing 2013 because I was not prepared for it, and I was pretty much like editing videos like on the fly. But after a while, I'm like, you know what? This is like too much. I can't keep up. So, and I believe
it was more of a challenge than like a look back.
Yeah, and
that was unfortunate.
Yeah, and I believe Goat, when he contributed, he just did it in one video.
Yeah.
So, yeah, God, but suffice to say, 12 Days of Anime 2011. That was the first time that I made anything anime related, and you can still find the video on this third channel, this channel that you are watching, this right now. Like in my video history, so you could go ahead and I won't upload the rest because copyright, and also they're just terrible. But yeah, like the first day of 12 Days of Anime, that's how I got my start, and how I can proclaim that I've been around, since 2011 doing this, because it's technically true, even if it's late 2011. So.
It's really funny. It's still a lot of people who participate in that is people who I've now met in real life. Like Nick. Nick came to Japan. I met up with him twice. I'm pretty sure.
So
twice, yeah.
Yeah. So in a way, 12 days of in a way, 12 Days of Anime. The fact that you were able to meet, some of these different people who contributed, in a way, it was pretty much a success, right? Because one of the goals was to essentially, get, people from the community together and just kind of collaborate in this one event. And
yeah,
I mean, you got to meet some people, you got to be acquainted with others, or, simply acquainted with others. Some people started like me, because and if you hear anything in the background, you can ignore that. It's just noise. But yeah,
the noise in the background is just noise.
I mean, we are on a rooftop after all. I mean, at least I am. I'm just kind of, gotta love the atmosphere, I guess. But anyway, so 12 Days of Anime happened, and then we have basically, then you have the rest of your YouTube life, basically, from there. Of course, then you have 12 Days of Anime, like, after that you hosted, or would host, but at some point you then worked for Madman, and now we're going up more toward the modern day.
So that was 2015. I was what was it? It was they were hiring some new people, and I knew some people there. And it's actually funny. So I knew some people there because through Avcon and already doing YouTube stuff. So I just applied and I got the job. So I moved interstate.
Wow.
It was basically like moving from, I don't know, middle of nowhere America to California.
Ooh, my state then.
So yeah, it was. Oh, I didn't move to California, but the equivalent in Australia. And yeah, I did that. And
did your YouTube videos have?
Melbourne for...
Okay, sorry. Sorry about
Go
that.
for it.
Okay. Did your YouTube videos have anything to do with landing the job? Because as far as what you just said, like, you sounds like you got the job pretty easily, or was it because?
So it was because of the YouTube stuff. So I already had the contacts, obviously, through like working the convention, but also because I was doing press stuff for them. So I'll like review DVDs and Blu-rays and like worked some social stuff with them already. So when it came to hiring me, it was kind of for they knew how I was. And they liked me, I guess. We were already on friendly terms. So, and the person who advocated for me in the business, who you probably won't know her, but her name is Jess. She was working at Madman. She just was hired, and then they were hiring someone for underneath her, which was then me. And then I was made redundant because the whole business was downsized later on. And now both of us actually work for Crunchyroll.
Really?
Yeah. So she moved to Crunchyroll last year, like late last year. So that was funny. So now we work together again.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really funny. But yeah, so I worked for them. It wasn't super easy
Yeah, yeah. What did you
to get the
do?
job.
What did you? Oh, okay. You're telling about how to get the job.
Yeah, at Madman. I think what was it? I had to I had to write a blog post at the time because they wanted some more blog posts written
Hmm.
from internally, of course. So I wrote a blog post. I think it was a Father's Day one.
Hmm.
I can't remember now. Maybe it was best twins in anime. I can't remember at this point. So I did that, and apparently they were very impressed with it. And yeah, I was hired, moved over there, worked on a bunch of like movies, home releases. I got to work on like Love Live movie, Boruto movie,
Hmm.
the Attack on Titan live action movies that were terrible. Yeah, it was really fun. It was really stressful though.
What do you have to?
Like I had, so I was the digital, what was it? Digital media marketing person, and community manager. And this was my first time working in a proper business, and this is my first time learning a whole bunch of stuff. And it was very stressful. I was in way over my head. And I had to learn like how to do Facebook ads, had to learn how to do social posts in general, timings, everything basically
So like
on the fly.
So a lot of things like really were like self-learning. Then
Yeah.
wow.
I
Okay.
learned more in that job in a month than I did over like 4 years of uni.
Which, so you're definitely one of those cases where you learn best doing it than just being told how to, which I can relate actually, because I mean, shit, I learned how to build computers by just doing it, more so than just reading about it and all that jazz. But in this case, it sounds like you had two roles: digital marketing and community manager.
Yeah. It's basically the same type of role. Or at least for a smaller platform, it is because community management for like an anime company, especially a streaming anime company, is just digital management. But you have to be more community orientated, which I remember got me in a lot of trouble because I'd always be advocating for the consumer rather than for the business, and that got me butting heads a lot with the producers. Like the brand managers and stuff, which is funny, I guess.
And how long did this job last before, unfortunately, everything was downsized and just kind of omitted?
Well, basically, I was hired in August, and then in September they said they were downsizing, and I wasn't laid off till December.
Ah.
But I was basically, they told me that it was not a business decision. It was basically the board just cut all the new staff, basically.
Ah, okay, so just kind of getting rid of the stuff they deemed unnecessary, or basically being someone who just enters the profession, going from YouTube and all that to the profession. They just figured that you weren't really, your job and all that, what you do is not really forwarding, what their goals are.
It wasn't just me though. It was a whole bunch of people. They lost a whole bunch of people at the time. It wasn't just me.
Christ.
So it was pretty devastating.
So then, all right. So then you got laid off from the Madman job and
Made redundant.
Made redundant. That's
Yes, that is the legal term.
I am correcting myself. Made redundant from the Madman job, and
Yeah.
you all right? So then, at some point, you then started to work freelance. So I would assume juggling, YouTube and essentially any job that you would get up until the Crunchyroll gig, which
Well, actually, no, not technically. So in Australia, I was doing freelance digital marketing and YouTube help. So, I was doing YouTube, but I was also helping other YouTubers in Melbourne.
Okay.
So there was this like one channel who was and she did kids like stuff on YouTube, and basically just wanted help in bringing in more viewers, basically. So I would help like with tags and thumbnails and like management, like audience management, stuff like that. Metadata, all that kind of thing. Then then I'd also help other YouTubers with other things, some small businesses.
So was
like getting them started on Facebook, on Twitter.
So was this for a company or for YouTube itself? Or
no, this was freelance.
Okay, so not really like a freelance work for a company to help people, but on your own terms, basically.
Basically,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, that's so. And how long did this go for? Up to the point.
I did that for about a year, and then I had a holiday to Japan. And for 2 months, I did a holiday, and then I moved back to my hometown for a year to save up money to move to Japan.
Well, rock on.
So then I moved to Japan, my wife, and I worked in a Japanese company for 8 months. Which stories.
I won't. I mean, I won't ask what the company is or what. Obviously, like.
You can ask like about business stuff. Just
okay.
don't. I wouldn't be able to tell you which company it was.
I mean, you could. You can maybe say what. Not what it entails, but the general like. What was the job? You know.
So again, I was doing digital marketing.
All right. So more marketing stuff.
Yeah. So I was basically one of two white people in the company,
and
or foreigners, I should say, foreigners doing the marketing.
And did you learn like Japanese beforehand, or did you learn like over time? Because
it's a bit of both. So I had like a basic grasp. And then I learned on the job,
which is more than a lot of people, especially me. You know, I tried trying to like learn, like self-teach Japanese, myself, but kind of stumbling on that. But
it's really easy when you're in a place where you have to continually speak it.
I'll believe you. Yeah.
And so I did that. And I was working with this one guy, and it was a tough job, mostly due to management, and because you don't really quit jobs, you quit managers, if that makes sense.
All right.
And that's definitely what the case was. So the guy I was working with was also quit because he had enough, and he landed me a freelance writing job for a travel company in Japan.
All right.
It was freelance, so it was just a certain amount of articles a month. And it was mostly just SEO articles for travel businesses. And so I quit to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then that company folded. Ugh. A record there I have. And after that, at Anime Japan, I spoke with Anime Japan that year, so it was 2019. Yeah. Miles, I spoke with Miles from Crunchyroll, who I've known for a while now.
And he's still at the company still? Do you talk to him
Miles,
still?
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Miles, yeah. He's a senior person, high up somewhere. Yeah, he's like, we're looking for some writers for Crunchyroll, like Crunchyroll News.
All right.
So, would you be interested? And I'm like, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Of course I would be.
Which,
yeah, exactly.
Like a lot. I mean, that's like more than like. Again, like the fact that you went from this dude who essentially made reaction videos in his room which is how I, known you like back in the day, like knew you back in the day, to now actually legit like working, in the field of, anime, related journalism as a profession. It just, I mean, the fact that, a number of content creators who started during that time are either like doing something else, moving on with life, or like stopped making content as a whole, is like, and or people like me who stick around, but obviously just kind of do what they do. But you managed to literally like break through into the actual industry by your experience, knowledge, being able to network, and essentially just being badass enough to make it a legit job to cover something that you probably still love even now.
I think a lot of it, at least from my side, it's a lot of luck, asking the right questions at the right time, and knowing people, and us not being afraid to ask questions or like ask for stuff. So basically, the reason why I got the Crunchyroll job was because I basically, Miles was eating breakfast at Anime Japan.
Wow.
And he was really busy because he had meetings the entire day because it's Crunchyroll, and Crunchyroll had a lot of business meetings in Anime Japan because it's the biggest trade show of anime in the world. And he was eating breakfast, and I was basically able to like confront him there and be like, "Hey, how you going?" And he's like, oh, "Okay, well, we'll talk for like 10 minutes while I'm eating." And then I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm just looking for like this writing stuff. I was it's dried up a little bit." And then he's like, "Oh, okay, so I've got this." You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then a few days later, we had another meeting, at a Starbucks in Tokyo, just to like hash it out.
Yep.
And I think a lot of it, especially like with Madman and Crunchyroll and other jobs, is just not being afraid to put yourself out there. So utilize the people that you, and not in like a bad way, and not like like too forcefully.
Yeah, like obviously, want to do things, obviously with confidence, but also, openness, friendliness, basically, you want to basically let them know you and know them as well, just kind of create a connection of sorts.
And basically ask them how you can help them.
Yep.
Like that's basically it. Like if you can offer someone something that will really help boost your chances at getting something that you want, and it may not be exactly what you want, but it's a step in the right direction.
Indeed.
So
and you literally just as this Miles dude was like eating breakfast, which is interesting. Very.
Oh yeah.
That really does sound like the right time.
It's like a comedy of coincidences. And it's the same thing like we have with Madman. I knew Jess at Madman, and we were friendly already. And yeah, just sort of like spring-loaded from there. The only job I've really gotten without a connection beforehand was the first job I got in Japan. But that was also... So I walked into the first interview, and it was with the guy I was talking about earlier, the other foreigner guy, and the Japanese management. And I walked in, and we just like talked about stuff, and it was like a typical Japanese interview. It was pretty fluffy, not real much substance. And the guy turned to me and was like, "So have you used Slack before?" And I'm like, "Well, I haven't really used Slack, but I use Discord all the time." It's just Slack is like a business messaging app. And he's like, "Oh my god, I love you. Can you do you know what business manager is?" I'm like, "Facebook business manager." He's like, "Yes." Oh my gosh, because let's just say the digital marketing space in Japan is a bit a few years old. So it's a bit older. It's gotten better now, but at least like 2 years ago, it was very not immature. It's not a word. It's a bit younger.
So,
So
I mean, I've heard that. This is just from based on what I've heard from, you know, like videos that I would casually watch about the subject of Japan, but they still use a lot of like paper and all that, you know, for like offices and all that, you know, doing stuff like old school, right?
yes,
So is
yes.
that definitely the case? Kind of trying to enter like, you know, marketing, you know, marketing sphere, and you know, leading up
So
to your current occupation.
so the big kabushi gaishas, which are like conglomerates, they definitely are more traditional. So they would post like sales numbers on the wall. They wouldn't send a spreadsheet. They're, they've used there's just a lot of paper going around. I remember I used to have to correct a lot of English as well because it was a company that dealt with a lot of foreign people, like English speakers,
All right.
and they're mostly Japanese speakers that worked there. So I would have to correct a lot of the English from whatever they translated it from. So it was like editing, I guess, and there was a lot of paper. I couldn't just use a computer. Business cards, of course. Whenever you go to a meeting, you'd be given like the minutes on paper. You wouldn't get it emailed. You'd have it like they'd just give it to you. So yeah, there is a lot of traditional elements, and it's funny because when I went to do freelance marketing stuff with some companies or freelance writing stuff, I'll be working mostly with younger companies, and more like the age of the people working there was actually a lot younger, and it was a lot more normal, I guess, or modern.
So it is gradually changing as time goes on.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, of course. It all depends on like I think the age of management, I guess. But it's funny because I also work with a lot of Japanese anime companies as well, like for press releases or events and stuff like that.
All right.
So, like for example, I suppose I can talk about this now. I guess
Sure
I was
thing.
working. I mean, I don't know if I'm allowed to or not, but I'm going to anyway. There's no confidentiality agreement I signed.
Well, you know, just remember, don't talk. You don't have to talk about anything you think would get land. Basically, just you don't have to like express like the stuff like deep stuff with me. Obviously, that's
No.
just
So I was going to work with Kadokawa, who you might know as like the they make light novels. They know a lot for Haruhi. They also own the Dengeki Bunko brand, which is like Index Railgun.
They also send you copyright strikes, which is how I definitely know about Kadokawa. Thanks, thanks, Kadokawa, for the.
I did that as well. That was fun.
God Lord.
Yeah, so I was working with them on an Anime Japan thing this year, but of course it got cancelled, so I never actually went through with it. And they were a bit more traditional in how they worked, so they had lots of paper and all that sort of stuff. But they were really good. They were really nice to work with. They helped me with something earlier this year, which was really good. But we were supposed to like do this collaboration where I would tour a certain amount of people around Anime Japan. I would go around talking to creators and stuff, and it'd be really good. But of course, it was cancelled because Anime Japan was cancelled. So that can't be helped.
Yeah, can't be helped.
But yeah, so I was supposed to do that, and I've been to a few events now that have had like the production committee there for anime, which is really interesting. I went to was like a screening, and I was sitting in the production committee area with all the production committee people, because that's how I got in. I got through some connections through there, and you could just see all the Japanese production committee people. So, you know, you had the book editor, you had their producers, the voice acting producers as well. So all this like different companies, all very traditional Japanese, and then you had just like one like white guy sitting in the middle with a beard. And they just look at me like, why are you here? What company do you work for? So it was really fun.
So, okay, so admittedly, you. Okay, so I'm trying to summarize this, because admittedly you were kind of cutting out a bit for bits and pieces, but this is for Kadokawa, right? Or
no, it was a whole bunch of different companies.
okay.
Yeah.
So this is like basically a tale of you were gonna like have like a meeting and all that, or discuss something for, you know, the expo, Japan Anime Expo, and how you are literally you're pretty much a gaijin, really, like in this whole. And
yeah, I'm the only like, yeah.
If you don't mind me saying gaijin. Okay, my cat brain was able to finally mesh everything together. So now we move up to the present day, and you currently live in Japan, doing your job. Hopefully, the tale that you just laid out won't get any like any backlash on you, because I don't want that to happen.
It should be fun.
So now that we're pretty much up to the modern day with you being a Japan correspondent for Crunchyroll, maybe we can kick back and just talk about what it's like to be in Japan, because that is definitely an interest of mine. I've always wanted to go to Japan, at least once in my life, ever since I was a kid. But and you managed to not only go over there, not once but multiple times, and are now currently living there. So want to drop some insight, and probably essentially talk about the differences between there with, say, like Western cultures, or talk about what it's like to live over there in general.
What questions do you have? Because at the moment, living in Japan is the same as living anywhere else around the world, because you're not allowed to go outside.
Okay, so
as you can imagine, well, I mean, we're allowed to go outside, it's just not advised. We've been urged not to. Strongly urged not to by our governor.
I guess the first question I would say is, you being Australian, and of course having to learn a different culture, to not simply to do your job, but to live there to do your job. What were the challenges of adapting to this environment and this society that from a number of different sources is a bit on the collectivist side, so to speak? If you're not contributing to the overall society, you're kind of looked down upon. Or better yet, if you come from a different culture, you might be expected to not act or fit in a certain way. At least this is based on my preconceptions, based on what I've heard previously. But since you've had time to live over there and see the sights, meet different people and all that, and maybe you could possibly share your take on what it's like to adapt and live over.
So there's definitely this idea that foreigners don't have to be Japanese. So there's this idea that we don't and will not act the same way. and then we can get away with some stuff because of that.
Yeah.
There's a term called it's a term that we use lovingly called gaijin smash. It's basically we'll just gaijin smash our way through because we're not Japanese. It's we're not going to do it the Japanese way, so we'll just gaijin smash our way through it. One such example is I have a baby on the way, so my wife is pregnant. And
congrats, dude. Whoa.
Thank you. So to see my baby be born, basically, I have to go to the hospital and take a class and get this license to say I can be in the hospital room with my wife having the baby. That's super strange.
Yeah.
I've never heard that before.
It is unheard of.
I mean, I've heard of classes for like expecting parents and stuff like that, but I've never heard that I need a license to see my child be born. But that's also a very sexist idea of women being, just there to have kids and the husband just to, not worry about it. It's a very sexist way of thinking about it. But of course, those classes are currently cancelled.
Shit. Okay.
Yeah. So I am hopefully just going to gaijin smash my way through.
So, I mean, there has been a number of controversies of, say, I think the most popular one is what is it? Is it Logan Paul or Jake Paul making an ass out of himself in Japan?
It was the Suicide Forest.
Yeah, that whole, just a clump of disrespect. Did that ever did that change do anything to affect the perceptions of foreigners? Because again, at some point I would love to visit at least once in my entire life, but me being a Western dude or something like that, I would like to know as much about Japan as possible. Before I ever
with
do.
the whole Logan Paul stuff, there was this idea for a little bit that foreigners are stupid, and there's this idea foreign tourists are idiots in Japan, and most of the time I can kind of agree with that. Foreigners do come to Japan quite often.
And
think that Tokyo is a playground.
Yeah, and just kind of they don't bother to try to adapt to, or at least try to understand the social norms and maybe kind of fitting it in.
It's not even just the social norms. It's they're more of an arse than they would be in their home countries.
Okay, so that's interesting. So it's they're in a different land. All of a sudden they think they could do what they want because they're not in a place where they usually are. So if anything, it's not so much ignorance as much as it's just ego or something.
Yeah, it is. And I'm not talking about just Americans. It comes from Europeans, definitely Australians, Chinese people, Korean people, Europeans, UK, everyone. It's a whole mixed bag of people who come over to Japan and are just being asses of themselves, basically.
All right.
So when Logan Paul did his thing, there was this perception that he's a tourist and he's being an ass of himself. But also it more negatively affected the image of YouTubers in Japan. Because every time that they did a story about it, they always said YouTuber, which negatively affected the perception of YouTubers.
Okay, so it didn't necessarily affect the image of foreigners as much as tourists and online personalities who...
Basically, yeah.
So if I were to at least... So if, let's say I managed to gain, get enough, resources and all that, money and all that, and maybe learn the language a bit to, be able to go through my own sort of visit and all that, as long as I try to acknowledge, you know, what, you know, try to just obviously don't learn from their, you know, mishaps, and try to suppress my own kind of, basically just try to respect the different, or at least try to fit in some of their social norms, and just kind of, manage to fit in somewhere. I'll be fine. Like,
it's not even that. It's like, as long as you're a normal person, you'll be fine.
Okay. So,
I've met so many people who are just normal people.
So
they just do whatever.
Yeah, just don't
just live how they know.
All right, so just don't be an ass, basically. Yeah, and you'll be fine.
That's it.
Okay, that sounds better, then, because I was gonna start. Well, I mean, though, I suppose, like, at least learning the language a little bit, or learning some of the.
If you stay in Tokyo, Kyoto, and Osaka, you don't.
Okay.
Like, it's so easy to get by in English.
Like, yeah, you're currently making, like, Japan sound more casual than it, like, really than one would casual. Think, which actually puts in a lot of confidence, actually, if it really is, more kick, not completely kick back, like, do whatever you want, because then you're an asshole by doing that. But of course, just be polite enough, and be just kind of keep yourself a bit orderly, and obviously don't be reckless, and you'll be okay. So
yeah, as long as you're not, like, on the trains making incredibly loud noises, or as long as you're not pooping in the streets, or
pooping in the streets. Well, then
no, you'd be surprised.
Whoa. Okay.
My wife works in Asakusa, which is a tourist hub. Yeah, it's it's not fun to go there very often. As long as you're, like, a normal person that treats other people with respect, you're fine. Japan there's this concept, or this idea, that Japan is like this weird foreign other country that has totally different cultural norms, that is completely opposite to everything and that you have to abide by these traditional rules and all sort of stuff. But it's not. It's a country full of normal people that do normal things, that go to work, they go home, they drink, they have fun. There is this business side. Yes, it's more complicated, obviously. And it's really complicated. But as a tourist, you'll never see any of that. Like, when I had a few friends over from Europe, we went to a bar, talked to people, had a few drinks. It's just normal, There just happens to be Japanese people around instead of white people.
God.
Or,
well, that's a relief.
There's a few more temples.
Yeah, because all the videos that I've seen, would, say, like otherwise. But you definitely, if you're able to, like, just kind of live there and be okay just by being you, then
I mean, like I said, on a casual note, I can be myself. On a business note, it's totally different.
Of course, yeah. Then you gotta put on the big boy pants, so to speak, and be on your best behavior in that case, if it's business. And Japan probably takes business very seriously. I would probably.
Yeah.
But if you're just an everyday dude, just kind of living his life a bit, going out and trying, maybe getting groceries, or hanging out at, like, arcades, which I have you ever been to arcades over there, or how many are there?
Of course I have.
Like, they're then
okay, so I've been to the ones I used to go to the ones in Akihabara a lot, because I used to live around there, and Ikebukuro. But and they're really big, they're really busy, they're popular, and it's a lot of people. But now where I live, which is a bit more suburban, there's a local Sega arcade
Sega arcade.
that has a few like UFO. A Sega, yeah. Sega own a majority of the arcades in Japan. They also own the ones in Akihabara as well. That's why they're always Love Live. You always hear like the Love Live music blaring. Yeah. So I go to those ones. There's the one that's close to me is actually below a cinema. So what we usually do is just buy tickets and hang out in the arcade for like 20 minutes, play some games, and yeah.
So at the end of the day, be a chill dude, and you can live a chill life in Japan.
Basically, yeah.
All right.
As long as you know you pay your taxes and
All right. So
you're nice to people.
So just the normal, normal person type stuff. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Like I've heard on, I don't know if you've heard of a subreddit called R Japan Life. And if you know Reddit, you know that it's a bit sometimes.
Yeah, it can.
So R Japan Life has great stories on people living life in Japan, especially foreigners. And there was this one story of this guy who got blackout drunk on Strong Zeros, which Strong Zeros are a very potent alcoholic drink. It's a 9% alcohol, which is quite high, and the drinks are like $1.
Wow.
And they're super nice. They're like, it's like lemon juice, drinking lemon juice. So you get drunk very quickly. The story is the guy got blackout drunk and was taken to a koban, or a police box, in Japan. And he destroyed it.
Whoa.
So yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, just don't, as long as you don't do something like destroy a police box, you'll be okay.
Basically, yeah.
I now know the boundaries. Though then again, I don't drink, so I wouldn't be going out, blackout drunk and destroying police boxes anyway. But it's good to know. Good to know that that where the line is. But yeah, it's good to know that it's not as strict as one would expect or one would perceive it as. Okay.
It's not.
And he probably met like a bunch of like nice people over there too. I actually, if I recall correctly, he also got a reward for covering was the Mito and North Kanto region, I believe.
This
was last year.
2018. I have a friend who lives in like rural Japan, and it's like North Kanto basically. So it's like an hour or two out of Tokyo, and there was this program that I was invited to because I was working a lot with tourism companies at the time, where if you go to a certain region or any regions in North Kanto and make like a video, you could go in the running to winning a prize, basically. So I was like, all right, well, if I go up there, I'll go up there. I was like, all right, whatever, if it happens. But this friend of mine, he invited me to his city, which was like this really small town, and they were having a school festival at the time, and because he works as a ALT, and I can't pass up going to a school festival in Japan because you see it on anime all the time, and you just have to do it.
You got to do it. You got to know what it's actually like,
Yeah, exactly. And I was with a teacher, so it was okay. I could go. It's not weird for this foreigner guy to walk in by himself.
Hopefully.
I would never do it with a local school. I'd never do it with a local school because it would just be myself. But if I have a teacher next to me, then that's fine.
All right.
So I went there, and then the town, one of the towns that was on the list, was quite close. So I decided to go there and made a video of it, like showing the beauty of it. And I won a minor prize for it. So I'm a award-winning video creator, I guess.
Technically, yeah. I mean,
It's such a weird thing to say. It's like award-winning, which is really annoying because the prize are travel vouchers.
Travel
I
voucher.
can't travel at the moment.
Ah, yeah.
It's so stupid.
But
it was still fun, and I enjoyed it, and I can put that on my resume.
I guess, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So the mayor of what was it? Takashima City, I think it is. Was the guy who approved it. So, yeah.
So we're pretty much up to the modern day, which going through it is pretty damn amazing, actually, because going from just making reaction videos like in your room in Australia, just because you looked at some dude do it and you were inspired to just kind of do better than this one guy. All of a sudden now, not only are you working for one of the premier anime streaming companies as a journalist, Japan corespondent, to be exact, you're also going to be a dad now, which is, I mean, if it's not too personal, like when's your child expected? And
in June.
So not that far off. Do you know if it's going to be a boy or a girl?
That's a secret.
Okay. I won't ask then, but I won't. Either way, it's incredible how. Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah.
You were going to say something?
I was going to say it's been really interesting because previously, at least like when you're at a job or something in Japan, usually all the accountants or something deal with all your tax and resident stuff, basically. So you don't have to look at that. You're just basically given the documents to sign and you hand it off. It's really easy. Like getting the visa for the journalist visa was a bit difficult because I had to do that. It's pretty straightforward. I just handed in the forms and they were just like, yeah, all right, that's fine, stamp. But when you're doing all the baby stuff, it's really complicated because you have to go to the ward office or the council office, basically. Say, oh, we're having a baby. They're like, oh, is it approved by a doctor? And we're like, yes, here's the doctor's note. They're like, all right, well, here is all the forms you have to sign. Here they all are in Japanese. And then whenever we go to the hospital for appointments, because they do appointments every 2 weeks, it's just a lot of forms and a lot of complications. And it's just like, ugh, it's so much bureaucracy. But that's Japan for you.
Yeah, and when the baby's
At least,
born, oh, sorry about that. Thought you were.
No, go on, ask.
I mean, technically, when the baby's born, if you're going, or the baby's going to be Japan born, really. So
yeah,
is it going to be a dual citizenship thing you plan on doing, both Japan or what's
Japan doesn't have the citizenship of birth in region. It has by parents. So
okay, so technically the
both
baby
me and my wife are Australian.
So the baby's going to be designated as Australian by default.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So.
But if we live in Japan for 10 years, it can gain citizenship, I guess.
Okay.
It's some complicated law thing.
Yeah, it's Japan law sounds kind of definitely a lot of hoops from what I can hear about.
Yeah.
But hopefully this pandemic thing will just kind of fly on by, and hopefully things could just go back to normal at some point. and I hope
I would like that.
and
That'd be really nice.
and I hope that your adventure through being a dad will be a relatively smooth one, or at least one that will start off without too many hitches. Because it's incredible that like after 9 years now, of me kind of being aware of who you are, just kind of knowing that you've definitely done plenty with all that time. Good.
See, I feel like I haven't. It's funny.
Well, to an outsider's perspective like you've definitely have done a lot, dude.
Thanks, man.
Dude, like, what can I say? You're the pretty much the reason why I'm here on YouTube at the moment, or still am, really. The fact that starting out, and the fact that I still continue is because, hey, this is what I do. This is what I so far I know that I'm best at doing, and I wouldn't have done it without your efforts. So, you should be like proud of that at the very least. And, well, the fact that you've managed, that you pretty much are essentially living the dream, I kind of wish I could have like a piece of, kind of visit Japan and all that, because it's on my bucket list personally, but that's beyond the point. The fact is, you've done plenty, in just 9 years, like 9 years, dude. You shouldn't throw that away, man. You shouldn't like downplay that. That's pretty good. And I suppose, both of us essentially being a part of the older generation of anime YouTubers, now we're caught up to the modern day where you're a journalist and I'm just an outsider, I guess you could say that. But that's a whole different topic for a completely different time. Suffice to say, this was about you, and you have definitely given us plenty of material, as well as smashing a preconception I had of Japan along the way. So I can think about such an endeavor with less stress over whether or not I would even be able to be okay. So
I will say, it is, the first few days in Japan are overwhelming.
As it is with going to a different country. Like, I remember going to the Philippines, going from California to the Philippines, at such a young age, being overwhelming. So I already have experience with culture shock, is what I'm saying. But
yeah, once you get over all the bright lights of Tokyo, it gets really easy. Like, that's pretty much the main culture shock that I had, was like how many people there were. There's just so many people.
But you do get used to it eventually, and you do understand like where to go and how to like cope with it.
Of course. Yeah, you have to learn like the systems of like the IC cards or banking. Banking in Japan is the worst. It's horrible.
I will look up the subject later on to see, because now I'm curious in the banking aspect, because over here, at most, like, I just kind of talk to somebody if I want to do a money order, and I'd just get that over with. But how complicated can it really be, right?
The ATMs close at 5 p.m.
Okay, that sounds horrible. That's dreadful.
Yeah, that's the level of like how bad it is.
Oh my god. But getting off of Japanese economics, which is not my major, obviously not our majors, so to speak. Is there anything you want to add, or
is there anything you want to ask, like about the job or how it is?
I mean, how is the job writing for Crunchyroll without going into specifics? Obviously, anything that is like a legal no-no, of course. Just I even saw that you made a review for the new Shiro Bako film.
Yes, I got to see that. That will probably be my last review for a while. Because I was supposed to go see Fate on Saturday.
So it actually released?
No.
Oh wait, it got delayed.
It got delayed till April.
Okay.
At the least.
So that gives me enough time to make my review, which for anyone who's watching, my next review will be of the first two Heaven's Feel films in one video.
That's what I was supposed to see, the third one.
So hopefully that way I can just make sure I'm not spoiled on anything, even though I already know the story. Obviously I don't want to know anything about the film version of Spring Song, the last portion of the story, but that's a different topic but aside from that, it looks like we're all caught up to the now, and if there's got like a something to say or something else you want to chip in before we essentially end the stream.
I think I've said as much as I would like, or as much as you've asked. So, if you have any more questions,
No, I'm pretty good actually. We managed to talk quite a bit, and suffice to say, and I originally wanted to get Kevin Ya to be the first person to be here on this rooftop with me, but
I'm offended.
I feel bad now.
I'm kidding. I'm joking.
Okay, good. That almost stung me in the balls, but
I'm joking. Sorry.
But especially after his whole thing with Jello Apocalypse, I believe there was some involving that particular YouTuber, but I suppose it'd be more fitting to my first interview to be with the guy that got me started, essentially. Figured it'd be more fitting, but I hope to maybe get Kevin Ya on here at some point if he's still interested, because he did express interest when asking around. But aside from that, and going on that tangent, I guess we are at the end of this rooftop interview stream podcast, whatever you want to call it. The first installment of hopefully further installments, assuming that I get other interested parties. With that, I guess this is Hollow of Dawn signing off. And do you have an end message you want to add into the fray, Dazza?
Thank you for having me. I really appreciated it.
Yeah,
it's not very often I get to do live streams anymore, so it's kind of fun.
I could be better at this, but
you did really well.
Gotta learn where you can, and I learn best when actually doing it. So
I can appreciate that. Definitely appreciate that.
Baby steps, I guess. But
but yeah, you can find me on Twitter. I'm on Instagram at Dr. Dazza.
Yeah. Twitter. You can find him on the articles that he's written on Crunchyroll, Instagram, and basically, especially on Twitter. And of course, you can visit the Dr. Dazza YouTube channel, which unfortunately
to see my award-winning videos.
Yeah, the literally award-winning videos, and unfortunately, none of the older stuff. But oh well. You've clearly moved on to, and Siri's being an idiot. Oh my God! Hopefully Siri wasn't. Can you shut up, Siri? Okay, Siri's drunk at the moment, but getting out of that awkward zone among numerous awkward zones. This is Hollow of Dawn and Dr. Dazza signing off from this interview. And the Fate Stay Night Heaven's Feel review is coming soon. I've already finalized the audio. And until then, catch you next time.
Bye.